let's play our game. Let's get back to crabs.
We've got we've got a full like 2 to 3 hours.
Excellent. Plenty of time to be hanging out in Crabtown. So Narset, you wire walk your way across the river.
Narset looks over to Kintera and sort of like looks her up and down and asks her, "Are you okay? Is your hair good?"
Kintera is breathing rapidly, looking like she's trying to compose herself. Her eyes are sparkling in delight and wonderment from the exhilaration of your feat of mystic athleticism. There. She goes,
Yeah, just give me a moment.
The shaman's hut stands here at the mouth of the great cave, here where the inlet rushes in and out of the side of the volcano, here on the wind-beaten side of the island. It's maybe half the size of the longhouse, and you can see that there's a chimney built into the roof, but like most of the others, it is cold, and there doesn't appear to be any, lit braziers inside warming the hut. Kintera gestures for you to precede her. She goes,
Go ahead, you're protecting me, right?
Oh yeah, no, I totally got your back. Just, I'm trusting you with the words right now. I'm just gonna smile.
All right.
Let's go inside.
Yeah, she heads in.
Narset goes ahead and just like nudges her shoulder and like
through the Ravnak hide flap into the shaman's hut. Inside, you see the crab that I put there on the slide. He is of the dark red hue that many of the Sauvax over on the leeward side of the island, have achieved. But he is small, seems extremely old and shrunken with age. He's covered in a cloak of Ravnak hide and leaning on a staff that appears to be made out of twisted, petrified, or fossilized coral with one of his claws.
That's cool.
He stirs
lobster
from
wizard.
His sedentary... It's literally either Vodosiask or Bodobass, because I had to get that image in here somehow. My favorite crustacean Jedi from the Old Republic.
Hell yeah. Which slide are we on, by the way?
We are on 43.
Or no, 40, yeah.
Okay.
It's the same one. It's the...
There's no interior... There isn't an interior slide. We're just on the main view. I gotcha. Oh, whoa.
Exactly.
I refreshed it, and now there's an interior.
There's an interior on the main view.
Yeah, there's my boy. I love it. Excellent.
Yeah. There are 2 cold braziers here, and he rumbles up from his sedentary slumber, leaning on the creaking coral staff as he does. He looks the 2 of you over and clacks at you in Sauvax. Kintera steps forward to make the introduction, but he brushes her aside with one claw and reaches towards you with the staff. Are you going to react or not as he approaches and touches it to your head meat there on the forehead, Narset? You're going to shy away.
I'm sorry. So
there's a crab coming at you with a stick, and he looks like he's about to bonk you between the eyes with it.
Her eye... So, okay, so... Narset definitely takes half a step back, and now she's just kind of cross-eyingly...
He comes in and touches you between...
Yeah, it's not like he
in the forehead.
You poked. It was a poke.
It's like he was walking
with the head of the
lifted.
staff. Yes. You need to make a discipline check that you can add your force dice to against 3 purple and 1 setback. The other setback is canceled because of your Calrissian coat.
I don't know about you
but
guys.
There's a setback because of the alienness of this communication that he's attempting to make.
Failures, 2 advantage,
That is a despair.
despair.
And 5 light sides. So you can turn the failure into success, but you cannot erase the despair.
Uh-oh.
But you have 5 light sides, so you can turn those failures into many successes or successes and advantages, while the despair will, still happen. And you definitely want to
Let's
do that,
that
you know
then.
what I mean? So you can use
Yeah,
3 of those points to make your failure a success.
Nice.
And then you
So
use your
then-
other 2 points to either make it 3 successes and 2 advantages, or make them advantages instead. So you have 2 more points to
I
turn
already
into
have
more
the 2
successes.
advantage. Gotcha.
Right, but you can have
Then,
more
yeah, let's
advantage if you want.
Yeah, let's do that then. So let's
More
get
other
rid
good
of the
stuff will
2
happen.
failures.
All right, so a success with 4 advantages and a despair is the result of your discipline. As the ancient Sauvax Shaman surges forward and touches you with the staff. In a flash, you are bombarded with a rush of...
Death and merry memories. Oh, okay.
No, not Dathomiri memories. That wouldn't make sense. This is a Sauvac. You see this village flourishing. At the top of the volcano, there is no factory. Instead, in the distance, you can see through the cloud shadows circling the peak of the volcano in the air. You see a hardy crab village. In another flash, you see a star descending from the heaven, spaceship, and from it descend robed figures who go off to speak with the shaman at the time. In another flash, you see the same village, now somewhat diminished, the factory at the top of the volcano, and a quarrel between the villagers. A sizable portion of them are setting out. With the accumulated possessions they have, it appears they're leaving permanently. And then, finally, in a series of flashes, the progression of time as the village diminishes further and further. At the end of this, you now have the ability to communicate with the Sauvax directly.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Like the beacon thing in Mass Effect, right? There you go.
Yeah.
Or like the little worm
Like,
thing in Farscape.
Got all the
Gave her a bunch
Prothean,
of images
things
of,
right into his head, and now he
their
can speak like
history, and
Prothean.
now
Yeah.
she can, understand Sauvax. You can't speak Sauvax, but they can all speak basic anyway.
So you can have a
As far as
perfectly normal back and forth conversation.
We have
now.
never ran into an alien who did not understand basic.
It's true.
Unless they speak Huttese instead. You know what I mean? And then they
Ewoks.
speak Huttese
The
instead.
frog. Or the
Okay,
salamander.
right, but the Ewoks instead spoke a variant of another language that 3PO already knew.
There
And
are
the
also
frogs
canon
couldn't speak
Ewoks who
in
do speak basic.
But the frogs could speak basic.
They could understand it. They couldn't speak it.
There are
Yeah, that's
there
what
are
I'm
canon
saying. We've
Ewok
never-
characters in the
we've
new
never
comics that
met
can understand
aliens
basic
who
too.
can't understand
Yep,
either basic
it's
or
pretty,
Huttese.
It's
is
pretty
what I'm saying.
universal.
Those are like the 2 galactic languages.
Huttese is just basic
For-
number 2,
Yeah. If you're in the core or the expansion or the colonies, they speak basic. And if you're in the colonies or the mid-rim or the outer rim, they speak Huttese. And those are the 2 lingua francas. And in this game, explicitly, it says it doesn't matter unless the whole point of it is that you can't speak to the other characters because of language, and it's something you're going to have to work around, then you can speak to whoever.
Right.
And if it's a character with a Wookiee, then the GM give them a way that they can, because that's not the point of this game. Your characters need to be able to communicate with each other. Everyone could understand Chewie without translation by the time Empire Strikes Back rolls around. And they all understand R2-D2 by Return of the Jedi, even without having to read it on a screen. And we all know what Chopper's saying by the end of Rebels,
Well,
even though
Chopper's
they never
different.
translate for
It's
it.
true.
Not everyone understands Astro Droid, though. I feel like we've seen plenty of characters who are like, I don't understand you.
There are
Right,
random
but, like, the
people
characters
who
we
don't speak
follow
droid,
who
but
interact with that droid they get what R2's saying by the end of it.
Yeah, he's saying
at
that they
least,
show people
you know what I
picking
mean?
it up really quick. Like, sure, there's people who
Yeah.
don't know it, that don't have an experience with it, but if you follow a character for any length of time, they're gonna
They're
know
in-
the droid quickly.
yeah.
Right. In the
Or understand
galaxy,
fucking
we don't
Wookiee
meet a
quickly,
lot
you
of
know?
people who
Assume
only
how
know
they're
one
reacting
language.
to the situation in front of them.
It makes sense. If you like, they've done studies. Like, if a baby is exposed to multiple languages at the formative stage, like their ear is much better suited to understanding, and then those people are usually able to learn like a bunch of languages. And living in the galaxy, you're listening to aliens talk since you're an infant. So like, of course,
Everybody's a polyglot.
everyone's gonna have a much better affinity for like learning by ear because just you're exposed to it everywhere.
Yes.
Cool. So now you can speak Sauvax. Well, you can understand Sauvax. So what's up?
I can understand them.
Yes. So you get that, and all of those flashes. They had a flourishing village. They had no factory. Some Jedi came. Later on, there was a factory. Then there was a schism. And now things are where they are. And it's been hundreds of years. The shaman raises up and says,
As you can see, I was only young when your people first came to the village, and I did not treat with them myself. To understand our mysteries, and we let you learn about the climb. But you opened our world, and look at what has become of it. You are not the one that my master treated with. Perhaps they were your master as well. It has been one lifetime since that time, after all.
he looks at his own age, down at his withered body, and says,
Perhaps 2 lifetimes since that treaty.
Narset looks over to the shaman and then sort of like looks around the tent again. And then back over
it's
to
a very poor place.
and then back to the shaman. I don't know who the Jedi who came here before me were. They weren't my masters.
It has not been so long.
Do you know what they were initially looking for? Why were they here?
They were interested in the climb. They treated with the shaman at the time. Later, I became his disciple. They are responsible for opening our world to the outsider. You are responsible for what has happened here.
I hear your plight. I understand the feeling of hurt and resentment. So for whatever apology be said that could be worth anything.
No apology. The off-worlders must be removed. Then, our kin will come home and we will be strong again. And things will be the way they were when I could remember them.
From what I understand, your kin have plans of leaving this planet. No one seems to have a feeling of returning anywhere, rather continuing on.
He says,
Theirs is a false climb, even if they do hew to the ancient ways. It is not right. Sauvax returns.
Narset looks over to Kintera, looking for some sort of conversational guidance.
She says,
The story Crab Drogo told us.
at this name, the shaman cocks his head up. Curiously, she says,
About the climb, remember? Their whole tribal story?
she rummages in her bag for data slate. She goes,
I'm sure I have a recording of it somewhere.
the shaman looks at you and goes,
You've heard of the climb.
Why, yes, the leaders of the other village told us of their philosophy of strength. They believe in strengthening themselves in order to grow and change, face whatever new challenge comes to them.
The world is sick. the outworlders came, we could no longer climb. They've taken the great vent from us, and the ways of Sauvax are closed to my people. They've left. They make their false climb with the outworlders. They teach a false philosophy based on worshipping those who have taken our world from us. Their ways are impure, no matter their strength. This is why you must remove the off-worlders, so they will return to us and we will be strong, and things will be the way they used to be.
So until you can make some social
Narset,
checks to sway him
I was gonna
around,
say,
this is his,
Narset slowly,
party line.
she nods her head. Oh, no,
Yeah.
My mom started watching Yellowstone, so like which is all about fucking horse ranches and like family pride and shit in
This
Montana.
guy's a super
So it's like,
traditionalist.
as I'm hearing this, I'm just like, oh man, super Republican dad just needs to be told from his son that his son doesn't want to come home. He's not gonna want to hear it from me. He needs to hear it from the fucking.
But they are
dude.
dying here, also. So
From this side.
yeah, you
This
know what I
side.
mean. But they're not dying because like their ways are wrong. They can't do them anymore. You know what I mean? What he wants,
They've been
like, to be
interfered
able
with.
to climb up that volcano again, like. That's why
He wants
their
to have
village is
he
dying.
wants to have a different climbing route than the climbing route that the others took.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. Like, that's their whole thing. Like, we walk up the volcano and do a thing. You know? Maybe they tell a different story
Also
than you do.
Talking about coming home.
To teach,
like, well,
like,
that's
how
not-
to go, further again, kind of thing. You know? But they might tell a different version of the story. You know what I mean? Or this might, like, from the way they told it, this is literally where Sauvax came and stood on the beach and then brought the other crabs to the beach. You know what I mean? Like, they don't think there are more crabs. They are those crabs. You know what I mean? So, like, you could talk to these guys, about that. Like, they probably have a very different perspective on it where, like, these guys can trace... No. My lineage is in the Talmud. You do not understand. I have a
Right.
different perspective on this than you do, because I can trace myself back to, this book, kind of thing.
It'd be worth bringing one of the Sherpas, the shaman hut.
It might be, all of it's worth it. I did not pre-script any of this. It is completely open to the tact you want to take on it. You know what I mean?
Like, what are you here
and
to
if
do?
you want to go to, like, okay, I pressed X to agree, B to, get more information. You tell me what you want to ask about, man. This part of it gave me more interest, And if it's the kind of information he doesn't want to give up, you're going to have to make checks. Or if you want to change his opinions about things, Or you might have to help him solve some problems. That's usually a good way to get characters in RPGs to like you. You know what I mean? You're in a new location.
Can I make a suggestion?
But he's a guy with glowing punctuation over his head. Absolutely. Yeah. Or listen to them. They might have meta suggestions.
Yeah, like, my suggestion for meta would just be like, I don't know, you're very close to the volcano now. You could ask him if he has any light to shed on the vision, like how to get in there, etc.
Well, it's like I have no power of getting rid of all of the humans because the expat club and the presence of the other
I mean,
side.
they're not even involved in it. Like, there's a city of 20,000 people who work in that factory who, if the factory shut down, would all freeze to death. And the huts aren't going to take them off planet just because the factory got blown up by terrorists or whatever. So you couldn't even just, like, shut down the factory and not the city either.
Right.
Like, it's a way more complicated problem than this guy's considering. What he's asking you to do is not a possible route either. You're going to have to negotiate him down from kill or remove everyone who's not from this planet.
Do you
so
have
things
mind
can
trick?
go back to the way they were 200 years ago. Like, that's not an option.
Right.
It's not an option, yeah.
But that's what
You
he
try and
wants right
force
now.
persuade
You had to
him.
despair, not coming at you with a possible problem right now. He's coming at you with an impossible solution that was caused over hundreds of years, So, you're a Jedi Knight. You know what I mean? This is totally in your wheelhouse. None of the issues that have been put in front of Narset Jinn are not within, like, outside of the realm of solvability. Also, with just like creative RPG player style, shenanigans or interactions either. So don't like feel like, oh shit, this is like a huge thing, and the whole plot of it's now going to hinge on this. You know what I mean? Like, he's got a couple of different quests he's going to want you to do. And you know what I mean? Like, I already thought of what they are. You're just going to have to work your way around them instead of me smacking you in the face with them like a quest hook kind of thing. Instead, you know what I mean? That's all.
So
he's got
Narset
problems.
with
Don't worry.
Sigh. Not a sigh necessarily, but like with a deep exhale. Instead of trying to apologize, she looks back over to the shaman, and like, I'll probably have to do a coercion check for it. But she looks over to him. And
You trying to flex on him?
Flex necessarily, but just sort of like a Bilbo Baggins, don't take me for some conqueror. So she kind of
You're like, I am a Jedi, and
takes a deep breath and sort of like looks back over to the shaman, and if you need to project your anger of all Jedi towards me, that's fine. I'll be your totem of anger. But as far as the off-worlders who are here and your disagreements of the climb with the other tribe, that is not my concern. There are things I can help you with, and there are things that I can't help you with. One of which being I can make less off-worlders be here. I can't make all of the off-worlders be here. And if you want to try to open more communication or a mediated conversation with the other chieftain of the other village, we can mediate for you. That's fine. But I'm not going to take full responsibility for something that I don't know what the Jedi here were doing. You don't know what the Jedi here were doing. All I know is that something in the Force told me to be on this planet at this time.
Right, so you're coercing against
help you or not help you.
Right, your coercion is against his discipline,
man,
which will be 2 reds and a purple.
You're trying to pull a wizard move against a wizard right now.
Yeah, so that's a big fail. You can recover some of your strain if you want, or give yourself a blue die in the next social check you're going to take.
The blue die do you?
With your advantages.
It's a boost.
It's going to give you a blue die the next time you roll a social check against this crab who's got really good defense against social check. So you might want to boost die. You know what I mean?
Oh, blue is boost.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you want to take that boost next time?
Sure.
He goes,
I'm glad you take some responsibility. However, I will settle for no less than a return to what was. We will not treat with the others. Their way is fault. We require a route to the great vent to be opened once again. It is blocked by the off-world machinery.
Inside the cave?
he gestures up the sheer side of the volcano. They literally walk the way that it took you 2 days in your walker on their little crab legs from here all the way to the top of the volcano. Like, they walk it. That's the climb. They don't go through, they go over. Okay. But they can't get to the volcano because there's a big volcano factory up there with like a, force field over the top of the volcano and big pipes sucking up all the volcano gases.
They can't climb through.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to,
you can find a new way for them.
Or you could cut a big hole, like an opening for them to go through it.
Do the whole Mountain Doom, the door in the side of the mountain kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
you can use your. You've been developing your force earthbending. You could totally just like create an opening.
True, yeah. The altar.
Go into the mountain and make some new tunnels or whatever.
Yeah.
Lava tube or something, yeah.
Because you said it's just the tubes that are in the way, not the factory that's in the way.
Well, the factory's on the side of the volcano, but they've got all kinds of apparatus up at the actual, like rim that is collecting all the gases.
Like most stuff in
And then
Star
it
Wars,
pumps
there's all
it
this
down to the
machinery and crap
factory,
underneath
which is up
it,
on
you
the
know?
side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
the
they're not actually
factory-
interested in the volcano. It's just the gas that it produces. So, like, if you could maybe get into the interior some other way, like, do they have to go
But
all
she
the way
also
to the top?
knows through her visions that they're like now tunneling into the volcano itself to like remove precious gems and stuff from within the volcano. In addition, so there are probably guys like in the lava tunnels as well. So yeah, there's a whole situation going on in the volcano where there are like factory workers and outposts and force fields set up in lava tubes. You're in like
That's what I'm still trying to figure out. Like, what do they need that's being blocked?
right. He's like the
Just
literal.
tubes,
They
or is
want
it
to
the
get up.
What is?
It's all the physical blockage of the
I'm
machinery,
not
gonna
the
be
the
powerful
tubes,
enough
and the
to
station
just-
itself.
Yeah, they
a
built
shitload of
a
tubes.
factory on top of their volcano where they used to be able to walk up to the rim of the volcano and pick panda flowers. Now they can't because there's a fucking factory up there instead. And the factory encircles the entire top of the volcano with its apparatus to project this field over the top of the volcano to capture, what's coming out of it, kind of thing. So there's no access up to the top of the volcano over the top of this mountain, which is their climb. They climbed up from the bottom of the ocean to the top of the undersea vent, and then they climbed up from the undersea vent to the shore, and then they climbed from the shore to the top of the mountain. But they can't get to the top of the mountain anymore. So now they can't climb, and they're pissed. The other Sauvax said, fuck it, we're going to climb into a spaceship and fly away. And that's our climb. But, these guys don't agree with that. They want to be able to get to the top of the volcano again. You might be able to sell them on, well, maybe I can find a different route for you, something that is agreeable, but they might make you jump through some hoops to prove that you actually understand their philosophy kind of stuff, which are the other quests that I've got. Like I mentioned, an undersea vent, So there's all kinds of stuff to do that, you'll be able to do. You just have to, so how can I prove that I'm serious about this? You know what I mean? Because he's still sort of, is just sort of in blame mode. So if you ask how you can prove you're serious about this in character, I'll have him put forth, that you can, learn the true climb or whatever, and then he can show you his problems. You know what I mean?
Because there's no way I can replace or remove the factory.
No, I mean,
Down, so
yes,
that's-
but no.
I mean, you could.
You can.
You might take on some
Absolutely. You're
conflict
gonna
by
be
wiping out the.
You are definitely going to be on the dark side by the time it's over, even if you go about it in the nicest way possible.
I mean,
as
you might be able to
destabilize the
negotiate
lives.
for a.
I'm just imagining
Right.
Narset going up there piggyback on the shaman, just like
Right,
cutting,
but not
cutting the supports.
Not removing the factory. You know what I mean? Like, but
If
there
she
are
cuts enough
alternate
struts,
routes.
it's just gonna fall off.
Right. What he wants her to do is to everybody to be off the planet and the factory to be gone. You know what I mean? Which, is not tenable.
Feasible.
I
Or if
want it
is,
to be
you're gonna
1950
destroy-
again. Like,
Exactly. It's not going to happen.
Make Iceball great again.
totally.
Precisely. I have to keep it down myself. All right.
He's a
So-
MIGA. He's a MIGA head.
Exactly. So that's where he's at. But you could probably sell him on like, okay, well, show me your ways or whatever, and then once he trusts you more, you'll have a better chance of making these checks not against 2 reds and a purple. You know what I mean? To talk him down to an easier position. You've got, opportunities to do that. You know what I mean? He's like,
No, I accept no alternative position. You don't understand. Their ways are different, and they're not proper. The way we used to do it's the right way. And their way is new and different.
At that point, Narset just bows and says, "Thank you for your time. Might come back later if you have us to conversate."
says, not like anyone else comes around anymore. All left to go to the other side of the island. Stupid off-worlders. As you guys head out of the shaman site. Quintera goes,
This does happen a lot after we have, galactic civilization makes contact. I don't think this village is going to last much longer than the lifespan of the youngest Sauvax here, though. It's not like on Tatooine.
No, it's up to the other Salvax to try to convince this tribe of the other sort of way. They're not going to listen to us, really, because we are outworlders.
That seems to be a component of their philosophy,
So
isn't it?
for the time being, let's just
Their hero returns to show them.
have this as a thought and what the mouth of this cave has to offer.
All right. The
We're
cave
here
mouth.
to
The cave
study
mouth is
things.
enormous, and you could probably fit a small starship. The water booms in and out, but there's just enough of a ledge to be able to traverse your way into the cave with an athletics check, if you so choose. Otherwise, you can just see that it heads deeper and deeper into the side of the mountain and is lost into the darkness. And you can hear the echoing boom of what has to be a large chamber filling and emptying with seawater.